Zipper rolls out to the right, pitches off to Taylor, and Taylor's to the 20, down to the 15, down to the 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Touchdown, Billy Taylor! Touchdown, Billy Taylor! Billy Taylor scored a touchdown from 21 yards out. The crowd goes berserk. It was November 22nd, 1969. That they came to Barry, Michigan, all dressed in maize and blue. The words were said, the prayers were read, and everybody cried. But when they closed the coffin, there was someone else inside. Oh, they came to Barry, Michigan, but Michigan wasn't dead. And when the game was over, it was someone else instead. 11 Michigan Wolverines put on the gloves of gray, and as the organ played the victors, they laid Woody Hayes away. Under center is Wangler at the 45. He goes back. He's looking for a receiver. He throws downfield to Carter. Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
Welcome to the Michigan Man Podcast on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew, for Wolverine fans from coast to coast. Go Blue and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. This week we need to bounce back after a brutal loss to Sparty, and it's another night game in the Big House. With us today will be the radio play-by-play voice of our Wolverines, Jim Brandstatter. First, my view from Section 17 to get us going. It's hard for me to digest what happened to us on Saturday in Spartan Stadium even a few days later. We played with fire, forced turnovers, and proved we can throw the ball if the running game stalls. There was so much to like about what our offense did in that game. There was also much not to like. We had too many silly offside penalties that impacted field position negatively. We dropped 3 passes Cade put on the numbers, and 2 of them very easily could have been touchdowns. The offensive line struggled to get push all day, and our red zone efficiency, well, it wasn't good, really hasn't been all year. The defensive performance was the same. The defensive front was aggressive and pressured Peyton Thorne all day. Secondary coverage was good, and we picked off 2 passes. The tackling, though, was absolutely horrendous. Kenneth Walker is a great back, but even great backs can be tackled. We hit him in the backfield over and over, but rarely did we wrap him up or bring him down. Then there were the illegal substitution penalties that handed the Spartans 2 scores. After watching the game for a film study a few more times on Sunday, this is what it boils down to for me. We had too many mistakes on both sides of the ball to beat a good football team on their field in front of a hostile crowd, and we did not make the big plays we needed to in order to win. State did, we didn't, and it's that simple. As hard as it is, we have to put this game in the rearview mirror and get ready for Indiana. And I know they are having a tough year, but we need to make this game more about us and not them. How do we respond to adversity? How do we fix our mistakes? We've heard all year this team is different, mentally tough, focused, and has great leadership. In the next 4 weeks, we'll see if that's true. My guest today says we have 4 games left and all of our goals are still attainable. Up next on our game day segment is the radio play-by-play voice of our Wolverines, Jim Brandstatter. So stay with us. Here with us on our game day segment is the radio play-by-play voice of our Wolverines, Jim Brandstatter. Jim, great to have you back with us.
Good to be with you, Mike. How's everything going?
Everything's going well. I'm even recovering slowly from Saturday's outcome. That was, as always, a tough pill to take when you lose to your rival. But it was a game of with some positives, but the mistakes on both sides of the ball were too much to overcome. If we could, Jim, talk about the offense for a minute and some positives. Cade McNamara, I thought he was outstanding for the most part in that game.
There's no question he was. And while you're getting over it, I don't know whether I will. This one going to stay with me for a long time. This hurt. But you're right. Cade, I thought, played extremely well. The other thing I thought that was unbelievable was the emergence of Andrell Anthony, the true freshman. Really became a great receiver. I think he became a go-to kind of guy. Showed that he can catch passes in traffic. Showed that he could catch passes and run away from the secondary. I thought he was outstanding. The other thing I think again is Eric All really showed up as a force. He has become an outstanding blocker. I mean, that's something that he has done, and we all knew that he could be a quote-unquote receiver, almost a semi-wideout receiver, but also play in the middle and block. And he proved it on Saturday against Michigan State that he can be a force. A long line of All-American tight ends at Michigan, and believe me, Eric All is moving in that direction. Those two things offensively, I thought, were outstanding, and we got better with those two guys. A lot of things that we could certainly do better, and I think that the red zone, depending upon Jake Moody, is wonderful, but not as much as we do. We need to score points. We need to score touchdowns. We don't need to kick field goals.
In that game Saturday, as Dan Deerdorf said during the game, I like Jake Moody, but I'm tired of seeing him today. Just converting on a couple of those trips, Jim, we would have put that thing away.
I agree. And that's, I'm sure, what's going through the minds of a lot of coaches and a lot of players and a lot of people within the building at Schembechler Hall. You know, it's woulda, shoulda, coulda. And you didn't when it counted. And that's what you got to go to work on. You need to somehow find a way to be more efficient, whether it's be more aggressive in your play calling. I don't know. But you got to find a way that when you get inside the 10, the 15, the 20, that you've got to come away with 6. That's just, I mean, we've seen what it can do in a game last Saturday that when you don't convert. Michigan State did convert, we did not. And that right there tells you the story.
Part of the story was also some of the unforced errors, the offside penalties at times on the offensive line, Robbins dropping the snap on a punt. In the end, those little things really bit us, didn't they?
No question. I mean, you know, coaches always talk about that, details. You know, you think when you hear their press conferences, you go, well, that's just coach speak. Well, when you see a game like that Saturday, you realize that it's not just coach speak. It's real. This is what the results are, what the ramifications are for not taking care of those little details, but not playing a clean game. The 5-yard false start penalty when it's 4th and 1, and instead of going for it and maybe keeping a possession alive, getting another score, you're backed up and forced to punt, and you give the ball away to an offense that was rolling. And those little things, those are the things that cost you games, and clearly we saw that Saturday against Michigan State.
And the fumbles hurt us. Well, one by J.J. went out of bounds, so that was not as bad. But yeah.
Yeah, well, you can't turn the ball over. I mean, when you're on the road in a hostile environment like that, and you're the visitor, you just can't turn the ball over. Now, we did a pretty good job of that. But at the two critical times, and on the last interception, I don't really kind of count that, even though it will go in the statistics. But the reality of life is you're trying to make a play. You're trying to get something downfield. And you're throwing the ball into places you might normally not. And they make an interception. I get that one. But the fumble with J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum, just that's the game changer. That's the killer. And that one, you can't do that. Just simple. If you do that in that game, at that situation, when Michigan had every opportunity to put the game away right there, and you give it back to Michigan State, right there is a game changer. Right there is the difference in walking away back to Ann Arbor with a victory and coming home feeling bad. And the other thing I think that was really, really big, the Michigan defense has got to get better. They've got to have a substitution pattern. They cannot get caught like they did, substituting players into games for situational purposes. The other team, this is a copycat game, and the other teams that are watching this tape, as we play down the road, they're going to do the same thing. So the defensive staff and Mike McDonald is going to have to say, okay, we can't do this anymore, and have a defense on the field, no matter who is out there, for the other guy that can get the job done. Now, I mean, there's going to be substitutions. You're going to do some situational things in down and distance situations, but the other team's going to watch, and they're going to have a plan that if they can leave their personnel on the field like they do, and they see Michigan trying to run 4 and 5 guys off, they're going to go to the line of scrimmage and snap it. I guarantee you that's going to happen. And Michigan better be ready.
And hopefully that was a learning experience. And I grudgingly give credit when credit's due. And the Spartans, that little wrinkle in the game was, well, it wasn't a little wrinkle. It was huge in deciding the outcome of the game. When you talk about Mike McDonald's defense, it's been so good all year. And there were more positives, continuing positives Saturday. Aiden Hutchinson and David Ajabo just lived in the backfield, didn't they?
They did. No, from a pass rush standpoint, they did a wonderful job. They really did. But the problem is, I agree with you. But they let a back get out for almost 200 yards on them. They did not tackle as well as they have in the past. The defense as a whole. Ajabo and Hutchinson were great and really went after it. And I thought the overturn of the sack fumble for a touchdown, I thought that was questionable. But it's the other stuff. The big plays, the lack of, they scored 5 rushing touchdowns. Michigan had given up 3 rushing touchdowns all year. And in one game, they give up 5 rushing touchdowns to one player. I know Aiden and David would probably say the same thing to you. Yeah, thanks, but we didn't get the job done. And I think that's the way everybody feels in regards to that game. Defensively, yeah, they ran around. They were tough. They were hard-hitting. They did some things. I mean, Hawkins and Dax Hill, I mean, they were great, but they gave up too many points. They gave up too many big plays. And the ultimate end result is the fact that you scored 33 and you didn't win.
We know Kenneth Walker's a great back, no question about it. But I quit counting after the 6th time when we hit him in the backfield and didn't wrap or didn't bring him down. I mean, we've seen missed tackles somewhat this year, Jim, but not like that.
No, well, what did we talk about earlier? Details?
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that's a detail. You can't miss tackles. I mean, I saw it in the NFL yesterday. I mean, you look at the game last night. 2 Minnesota Vikings had Ezekiel Elliott lined up on a little pass play. He split them and got a first down, and that was the difference in the football game with under a minute to play. You have to make that play. You can't miss tackles. Those are the details. Those are the little fundamental things that ultimately, if you don't execute those, and again, it sounds like,
mm-hmm.
But the reality of life, if you don't execute those things, it's going to cost you. And clearly, you saw it. I mean, it with on a marquee with flashing neon lights against Michigan State and against Dallas last night against Minnesota. You saw it with. I mean, you don't execute that fundamental of tackling that back in the backfield when you have a chance. I mean, even the little ones where you go 2nd and 12 as opposed to 2nd and 4 or 6, that just makes a huge difference. And that's about doing the details. And you're right, missed tackles was a factor.
Well, Jim, getting back to J.J. McCarthy for a minute, and my inbox was just jammed over the weekend after the game with questions about are we going to continue using or should we continue rotating J.J. in and take that fumble away. That was huge. We all know that. But moving forward, for his confidence, do you think we need to get him right back in the saddle Saturday against Indiana?
Look, yeah, I think he's got to play. Jim Harbaugh, and they have a plan, and they've said they've had a plan. Now, before think about it, Mike. Before this game, Michigan's unbeaten. J.J. McCarthy's coming the game. There were people who said, man, let's play him. Sit Cade McNamara. J.J. McCarthy's the future. And now, all of a sudden, they're going, well, should they play him at all? You can't win with this kind of an argument. J.J. has tremendous upside. And he's going to be a wonderful quarterback. But if you looked at and he made a great throw. The touchdown to Anthony on that one pass was beautiful. And that's the kind of thing he can do. But he's also a freshman. And experience tells you when you get in a game in that situation, the guy that with experience walks into that game saying the most important thing here is ball security. It isn't about whether we make a yard or two. It's about ball security. Run the play, make sure it goes off without a hitch. And that didn't happen. And sometimes experience can make the difference there. And JJ's a true freshman. Tremendous talent, tremendous upside. I'm not putting the loss or anything on him at all. All I'm saying is Michigan's got a plan. J.J. McCarthy will play again. He will play in critical situations. He's learned, but you have to have two quarterbacks ready to play in this game, in this league, in today's day and age of football. I mean, again, you saw it yesterday in the NFL. 3 backup quarterbacks made the difference in 3 gigantic upsets. And if you don't have that going in college, and that's what I mean, you got to have him ready. So, yes, he will play. I'm sure that the plan will continue. There are other areas of work more important than how many snaps J.J. McCarthy gets, in my opinion.
Well, in the end, when you sort of do a post-mortem on the game, Jim, I mean, it was such a nail-biter, and, what stings to me still is we were up 30-14 heading into the fourth. The bottom line is State made plays, and we just could not come up with the big play, could we?
Nope. And that's about as easy as you can put it, and that's about as fundamental as you can get. I mean, but that's true. It sounds like, oh, come on, there's more to it than that. No, it really isn't. You have to make plays when it's a big time and important time in the game. They threw a 4th down play. Dak still had a great coverage, and yet Torn threw it into Reed, and they made a play. And it had to be perfect, but they made it. We didn't. We had a couple of receivers open. We missed, or we dropped a pass. Blake Corum in the first quarter drops a touchdown pass on a wheel route. Big games, you can't do that. And they made a play. We didn't. There's a difference of 14 points, really. But it's as simple as that. They made plays, and Michigan didn't.
Well, we have to shake it off and get ready for Indiana on Saturday, a night game now. And they're a banged-up football team. They have just struggled this year, and I don't think any of us saw that coming, but tons of injuries. And we might be seeing, I think more than likely, we're seeing a true freshman quarterback under center for them Saturday night. We just have to refocus, don't we, Jim?
Yep. As much as I respect Indiana, the job that Tom Allen has done, he has done a fabulous job down there. And they've got some great talent. Freifogel, their receivers, they're really good. But it's not so much about Indiana in this game, in my opinion, as it is about Michigan. You solve those issues, the red zone issues, the making plays, the detail issues. Catch the ball, make the tackle. Don't miss this. Don't miss an assignment. Don't jump off sides. All of those little things that contributed to what happened on Saturday, those are the things you can control. That's what Michigan must, I think, focus on. Indiana, yeah, you got to scout them and you got to do the right things to beat a team that has talent. But the reality of life is Michigan, in my opinion, has to look inward, and they've got to get their house in order. And, I mean, offense, defense, special teams. You've got to – I mean, and Jake Moody's great, right?
Yeah.
But, again, I'm like Dan. I've seen him too much. I mean, I want to see Jake Moody 6 times this coming Saturday night, and all of them should be extra points.
Yeah.
Okay? And that's kind of the way I feel is we've got to score touchdowns. I mean, and that's what I mean. Take care of your own business. Indiana, you got to scout them and you got to be careful. They're very important. But the reality of life is after you have gotten beat the way you got beat against Michigan State, you got to fix those issues first. If you fix those issues, I think you got a great shot at beating Indiana. But if you don't fix those issues, then Indiana is going to have a chance to beat you. And again, you can't, as they say, and this is again coach speak, you can't let the same team beat you twice. You've got to put it in your rearview mirror and go out and look forward, because ultimately you still have your own fate in your own hands. if you win out, then you may need some help. But it's not like Michigan State's got a free run to the title. They got to play Ohio State. They got to play Penn State. They've got to play Purdue this weekend in Purdue. Purdue beat the number 2 team in the country. So they're not a pushover. So you've got, hopes that you'll get some help. But in the meantime, you got to take care of your own business. And that means win out. And that's what you have to do, and that's what Michigan has to focus on.
We will be on the big stage again Saturday night, coast to coast from the Big House. So big bounce-back game for us. We'll see what happens. With us on our Michigan Game Day segment today has been the radio play-by-play voice of our Wolverines, Jim Brandstatter. Jim, thanks for being so gracious with your time, and we look forward to tuning in Saturday night and our next visit.
Thanks, Mike. You take care of yourself.
On Quick Hits today, at Jim's presser on Monday, he was asked about Cade McNamara's injury. He said he wouldn't know until practice when he saw him move around. No one is sure exactly what type of injury he sustained. Jim was also asked about Eric All, who limped off late in Saturday's game. Jim again said he needed to see him at practice. Jim also addressed the J.J. McCarthy situation and said he would continue to be inserted into games, although Cade McNamara was playing outstanding football. Jim was asked about the bungled exchange between J.J. and Blake Corum, which led to MSU mounting the winning drive. He said Blake should have taken the handoff. He moved on after that comment and did not go into any more detail. We'll share any injury updates with you on Thursday's Visitors Edition show. This week we'll be joined by Indiana's radio play-by-play voice, Don Fisher. He has been the radio guy for IU football and basketball for 48 years now. So I hope you join us for his thoughts on Saturday's game. That will do it for this week's Michigan Game Day show. Thanks again to our guest, Jim Brandstatter. It's Jim's last year calling the action. He is a first-class guy, and I know we've all enjoyed his many years in the booth, doing the play-by-play and also doing color for so long with Frank Beckman. So we hope to have him back one more time this year. Have a great Wolverine week, everyone. I'm your host, Mike Fitzpatrick. Until Thursday, take care, and as always, go blue.
Thanks for joining us today on The Michigan Man, here on Wolverine Sports Radio, a member of the V-Sporto Network, and in partnership with SB Nation's Maize and Brew. Our listener lines are open 24/7 for your calls at 313-263-4842. That's 313-263-4842. Or email us at themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. That's themichiganmanpodcast@yahoo.com. The Michigan Man Podcast is produced at the studios of Robin Lynn Productions, Allen Park, Michigan, and is not affiliated with the University of Michigan. Go Blue!